Good morning, dear students. How are you all? I'm your teacher, Vineet Singh, and I'll be taking your classes for the biology, especially the botany part. And I welcome you all to the first class of my subject. And we will be talking about a lot of things. We will be talking about the scope of biology. We will be talking about what you can do and how you can do it even better. Okay? So, dear students, how are you all? Hello Chula Chandpur students, hello Shillong students. I hope you have already started your preparation for the next year. You have, I suppose, gone through the previous year, I mean that 2019 test paper. You might have seen the questions, and you might have also seen that there is a proper distribution of topics. I always try to discuss this with my students that or some chapters are more important than the others, and this information comes very useful when it is the time of revision. All right. So all the topics are important, but some topics carry more weightage because they are tough than the others. So we do not see in the NEET examination that every chapter has the same number of questions. You might have already seen this. If you have not seen this, I might shift your attention to the topic-wise distribution of the questions that have come in the previous year, and then I will give you a brief introduction how you have to prepare this year's biology topic as a whole. Okay, so I hope you are ready. Yeah, we'll be happy if there can be a short brief orientation. Okay, yeah. I'll be very happy to do that. My name is Vineet Singh Pawar. I'm a graduate from Banaras Hindu University. Okay, my degree was B.Pharm. Actually, I have graduated from IIT BHU. My subjects included chemistry, medicinal chemistry, drug synthesis, a lot of biology. My focus was, my topics were, the drug synthesis focuses on very strong concepts of the subjects, even of physics, even of maths, statistics, and biology is the biggest part, of course, along with chemistry. So I graduated from IIT BHU. Thereafter I cleared GATE, but due to some reasons I could not join the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. That's about me, okay? I'll be brief about myself. You will be able to know as we carry on. Now, it will be very useful. Whenever I start the class, I ask 3 questions from my students, okay? So, my 3 questions to you are, first I want to know your name. The second thing that I want to know that why did you choose biology? Were you afraid of mathematics, or your biology, you chose biology because you had a special interest in it, you were motivated, yes or no? Okay, we all like to say that I'll explain why I ask this question. I ask this question because there have been some scientific studies which say that a person is genetically, let's say, he has the genes for mathematics or not. He has the genes for biology or not. This has been found to be true in the most cases, that right from the birth, a person can be good in mathematics, and he can be good in biology and analysis and all those things. So it's more of a genetic decision, and very exceptionally some people are good at both, but more or less it's a genes which decide which are going to take mathematics or biology. Okay, so that is going to be my second question. And my third question is, what do you expect, what do you want to do? Like if you want to become a doctor, have you thought about something like you want to be a cardiologist, you want to be a neurosurgeon, or you want to be a physician? Okay, so things like that. All right. So students, please write the answers to these 3 things. I want to know your name. Why you chose biology? Were you afraid of maths, or it was your own self-motivation? And what do you plan to do in the future? Okay, so these 3 questions, please be brief, and I would like to see what answers you have. Right, Shillong students, I can see you. Please write the answers. I want to know your names. First of all, first and foremost, I want to know your names, okay? Hello, man bike hoi. Hello. Please forgive me if I'm not able to pronounce it very well. One by one. Yeah. Okay. Okay, man bia koi. Why did you choose biology? It was a self-motivation, I suppose. Okay. It's taking time. Please be brief. You can write that you chose biology because of self-interest. Okay. Hello, Wallenbach. How are you? Wallenbach, Wolong, I suppose. That's how you pronounce it. Okay. The others also, please do it. Yeah. It can be your genetic decision. Maybe your genes were speaking for themselves. Okay. The others do it fast too. Yeah, that's really nice to know. Okay. The others also, Shillong and Churachandpur. Please do it fast. It should not be very hard. Okay. All right. You want to become a surgeon, right? Okay. I will give you a brief introduction. I have in my family some doctors, so I know well about this. How person decision can be influenced by the inspiration in family that runs deep. Okay. And I'll discuss some things with you. You will find it interesting. I'll discuss the scope of biology shortly with you. Hello, Ernie. Okay. Churachandpur students, students, please also state your attendance. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe 5 students in Shillong. Okay. And Churachandpur, how many students are at your center? Please state your attendance. Okay. All right. Okay, Churachandpur. All right. Okay, I see. Great, Churachandpur. Okay. Manvi Koi. Yeah, you want to become a physician. Okay, great. That's very nice to know. You want to become a physician, that means you will be prescribing people medicine based on their medical history, based on the drugs they are already having, and their physical condition based on the pathological reports as well. Yeah, very nice to know. Okay, you want to become a neurologist. Neurologist is a bit different thing. A neurologist is someone who knows. He is not a neurosurgeon. Okay, you can say it's a specialized degree. Yeah, okay, you can say neurosurgeon or neurologist, almost same. Okay, that's great. Maybe you have some inspiration. You want to unravel the mysteries of the brain. Okay, very nice to know. We have interesting people here. Hello, Vante. Please state your reasons and please state why you want to or what you want to become. Okay, all right, yeah. Again, yeah, because some of us are not very good with the numbers. We are not very good at the technicals, the sophistication that is required in the mathematics. But it's perfectly fine. You chose your subject and you will really do good if you practice well. Okay. All right, Vante, I understand you. The others also, please do it. 2 people remain, I believe, in Shillong. I can see. Okay. You want to become a cardiologist, a cardiosurgeon. Great. Yeah, we all have our decisions. We want to become something. And most of the time, it's some inspiration that we have, some inspiration that runs deep in our family, or we have visited a cardiologist, or we have seen this inspiration on the internet or the TV. somebody or something has inspired us to do these things. Great. Okay. All right, Vante, I understand. Okay, so 2 people remaining. Shillong. Hello, Daisy. How are you? Okay. So why did you choose biology? Maybe you were always interested in biology, I suppose. Okay. Let me explain one more thing to you. Our brain is divided into 2 hemispheres, right and the left. Normally, what we see, and it's true for the general population, in the case of the males, the left side of brain is slightly less developed than the right side of brain. Slightly. There is not much of a difference. But what happens is, what results in this is that because of this, the males are more prone to making a decision based on the logic and the reasoning. Okay, we have our analytical skills first, and creative thinking is second. And in the case of girls, the girls are more creative than the boys. Okay. All right, Daisy, you wanted to take math. You did not want to take maths. Okay, and you want to become a pediatrician. I understand. I think you love babies, right? Yeah, they are so cute. They make us feel happy, and maybe we always have a hidden desire to be like them. Okay, so in the general population, you will normally see that more girls take biology over maths, and more boys take maths or commerce over biology. The reason is because girls are more creative and boys are more logical. Okay, so you will see these things, but that's not a general rule for everybody. It's true for almost all cases. Some people have a right side brain, more adjusted. Okay, hello Priyanka. So why did you choose biology? Okay, all right. So now we'll, okay, yeah, you must have had an interest, okay. And what do you want to become, Priyanka? All right. Okay, so, okay. Taking time to type, I suppose. Okay. You want to become a psychiatrist. Okay, you want to become a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist is a person who deals with the mental disorders. Okay, yeah, great. I understand you have a hidden desire to unravel the mysteries of the human mind. Yeah, very creative, very good. Okay, so we have done a brief introduction. I am very happy to know your names. I might not be able to remember, but you will, whenever I'll ask you some questions, please try to write your name after the answer. So in this way, I'll be able to know how you are doing my questions, how you're dealing with everything. So I'll be able to remember your names as well. Okay, so that will be an added benefit. And if possible, I'll be able to visit after a month or so at your center. Then I'll be very happy to clear your doubts personally and to see how you're doing. Okay, so we will wait for that also, and by that time I hopefully will know all your names. Okay, all right. So what I want to do now, I'll give you a brief introduction of what you can do with biology. Okay, and we all know the basics, but I want to just tell you a bit more. So let me tell you a few things before we begin formally with our course. Look, biology, the first aspiration of almost every candidate is to clear the NEET examination. Okay, the NEET examination by the National Testing Agency, and it's a combined examination, so it gives you access to the state government medical colleges which have contributed their medical degrees their medical student degrees towards a pool, and this combined pool of medical seats goes towards the NTA, and they conduct a test, and it's become quite easy to now just give a single examination. And previously we had to give a state examination of so many different states based on the domicile. Suppose somebody has 2 states domicile, so he will give a state examination of 2. He will give AIMS exam separately. He will give armed forces exam separately. So it was very confusing. Students had a lot of problems. But now your chances of becoming selected are comparatively very much now. So let me tell you about NEET. A NEET is examination which tests you on the basis of the course biology, physics, chemistry course covered in class 11th and 12th. The main focus of it is on NCERT, but just NCERT is not alone sufficient enough. You people must have known this by now if you have seen the question paper already, that only NCERT is not enough. We have to do something more than that. We have to expand the syllabus, we have to expand the topics, we have to study them properly and try to practice a lot of questions. And we also have to give some tests so that we might be prepared for the test at the end of the year. Okay, so after 1 year, exactly 1 year, you will be appearing for this test, and up till that time you will have a lot of mock tests, you have a lot of practice, so you will be much prepared by then. But let me share you some few things also. The NEET examination, the seats which are open are MBBS and BDS seats. You already know that one is for becoming a doctor, the other for becoming a doctor of a different organ, of a different place, that is the teeth. Okay, so MBBS seats, after the MBBS counseling is done, the BDS counseling starts, and some people prefer becoming a dental surgeon. I'll say that becoming a dental surgeon is comparatively slightly easier. Not very easy, but slightly easier. But there is the seats and the scope is increasing day by day of the BDS. So more and more people are now opting for the dental surgery as well. So this already you know. Okay, there is nothing that you do not know about this right now. But please try to understand. NEET examination rank is used in many ways. And one of the important thing in which uses the NEET examination ranking is the Armed Forces Medical College. The Armed Forces Medical College is very different from any of the different colleges that we have all around India. This is very different because in armed forces, when you enter the premises, from day one you become a military officer. Okay, you become a military officer. You will always kind of receive soft postings. You will not have to go on the border always. And that too boys also, boys only. Girls are usually kept on the back lines and in the metro cities only. And the boys also do not have to face very much stress in the beginning years. And in the Armed Forces Medical College, you receive a salary, you receive the full package that you might get afterwards. After completing the degree, you receive it from day one. So this is very different. What's even more important is that the government and the military is going to take care of your education, your housing, and your entertainment, everything. Okay, and it becomes quite a privilege to join the Armed Forces Medical College. I had cleared the Armed Forces Medical College, but unfortunately, actually I don't, I just have a mother, and at that time I was not fully aware that if I have a eyesight of ±3, greater than ±3, then you cannot be allowed into the Armed Forces Medical College. However, there is a clause which states that if you have done a LASIK surgery operation 6 months before the physical test, actually on the basis of NEET rank, Armed Forces Medical College calls the candidates for a physical test. If they pass the physical test, the army will take you in. Okay, the amount of seats are about 100 to 200. I believe it has increased even further last year. And for these seats, there is a intense competition based on the physical test. Okay, And I'll also tell you that the maximum number of AFMC doctors are from the northeastern states, and they are from Himachal and Uttarakhand. That is, the hill states contribute to the maximum to the armed forces. So because you have a physical constitution that is very much better than the rest of India, you already know that, okay? So that's true. You have a stamina, you have a physical constitution which is better than most of the candidates, so you have an advantage there. Also, the rank in NEET examination does not matter. This is very important. FMC calls a lot of candidates, and a lot of candidates fail the physical test. So NEET examination rank normally does not matter. So if you might get a BDS college based on the NEET examination rank, but Armed Forces has called you and you clear the physical test, you will get an MBBS seat in the top medical college. So that is a very important thing that you should know, and this might change your way of looking at life, where you will become an officer, and being an officer carries its privileges. You will be different from a doctor who is doing MBBS from a medical college in Delhi or any other place, okay? That's solely based on your preferences. I am telling you that it carries a lot of privileges. BDS is also available in AFMC, okay? So you can choose your preference accordingly, and for that you require a cutoff even lesser than in MBBS. Now next move on to BDS. You already know that becoming a dental surgeon is counted as less preferential, but actually I say that the scope of this field is very much increasing. Let me tell you how. Recently there is a new branch which is gaining a lot of importance, even in surgery, cosmetic surgery, and in dental surgery, cosmetic dental surgery. I'll tell you what. You have seen the faces, the selfies of all the famous celebrities, and if you look carefully at their faces, you will see that they have a near perfect teeth line, okay? They have nearly perfect teeth. They were not born with perfect teeth. For example, Nicki Minaj, Zayn Malik, any celebrity, Justin Bieber even, any celebrity, Taylor Swift, or anyone you like, or the Kardashians, okay? The Kardashians are the best example of this. So what they do is they opt for a dental surgeon who will give them a perfect teeth line based on some ceramic filling material, and it's actually totally identical to the natural teeth enamel. So this is a rising field of opportunity for everyone who wants to have less stress and a higher salary package. So this is a very exciting field because everybody is more aware of their faces, of their looks. So this is a very exciting field of opportunity for anyone who wants to build a career, okay? Also, after this NEET, there are a few other options. I can guide you to them as well. There's an option that based on the NEET examination rank, you can get Bachelor of Veterinary Sciences. This is for those people who love pets. Actually, this examination is not separate from the others. You might have to give a Bachelor of Veterinary Science examination for some medical colleges, for some colleges, not for all. But it is a slightly less stressful job compared to the MBBS. In MBBS, you have to do 6-year graduation degree, followed by a post-graduation, and then followed by a super specialization degree, that is MCH. MBBS, MS, MCH. So that becomes about a 10-year period of study. In Bachelor of Veterinary Sciences, you get a 4-year graduation degree, just in 4 years, and a post-graduation degree in 2 years. So maximum in 4 to 6 years, let's say 6 years, a person can be self-dependent. But the thing is, the amount of opportunities are slightly lesser than the MBBS. However, if one is hardworking, if one has interest in pets and all, you can do a great deal of things in this, okay? In India, in metro cities, the veterinary surgeon is required in the demand for the veterinary surgeon is increasing. So that is an exciting field of opportunity for a few people who love pets. If you don't love pets, please don't go into this, okay? It might become boring and not interesting at all for you. Okay. There is another field, BC in agriculture. You can also do this. But for this, you will have to give it a separate exam. There are few institutes of world recognition in India. For that there is a separate examination, but for that you require proper preparation, just like the NEET examination. The syllabus is same, everything is same, but the qualifying examination is separate. There is one college, Pantnagar Institute of Agricultural Sciences. It's in Uttarakhand, and it's a very good institution. And a 4-year degree is awarded. The BSc is 4 years duration, and after this 4-year degree, you will be able to become an agricultural scientist, a junior agricultural scientist. You must have heard about Green Revolution, right? Students, you have heard about Green Revolution, right? So in Green Revolution, there was a scientist called father of Green Revolution in India, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. So Dr. M.S. Swaminathan closely worked with Pantnagar Institute and Indian Agricultural Research Institute. So he was an agricultural scientist, and the importance of this degree in India is so much because the amount of quality institutions who award this degree is also very less. People normally know BSc and BCom, but they do not know about BSc Agriculture. BSc Agriculture is of high value in India and also even higher value in the foreign countries, particularly in the European Union. So one can become a junior research fellow after BSc Agriculture and MSc Agriculture, and after that one can go for fellowship to Germany for higher studies, and one can become agricultural scientist in a good company, a good firm, and this is also exciting field of opportunity. Also, after doing BSc and agriculture, you can appear for Indian Forest Services. Even after MBBS, I will suggest you all to go for Indian Forest Service. It's a quality officer degree, quality officer post. What happens in this is, you have heard of Indian Administrative Services, but Indian Forest Service is exclusively for people associated with the conservation of forests, conservation of the ecosystem, and this is a separate thing but has the same importance as the Indian Administrative Service. It's equal. So that is only for the people who do BSc Agriculture and the BSc in Biology subject or MBBS degree. So this is also an exciting field of opportunity. If you do BSc Agriculture, it will be easier for you to clear IFS, or if you do MBBS, it will be easier for you to clear IFS, because the examination is very tough, and if one has studied seriously, one can clear this examination. BSc Agriculture, and after that you can do MSc in Agricultural or Forest Science, and Forest Science you can do for Forest Research Institute, Dehradun. This is a British time institution. It's a very old institution, and because it's very old, it's recognized all throughout the world. FRI Dehradun, most of the people who study for MSc Agriculture, FRI is the same institution which trains IFS officers. So most people after doing MSc Agriculture, either they go into IFS or they go for research into foreign institutions. So that can be an exciting field of opportunity if you want to explore the world, because it gives you very good exposure to the people around the world. It gives you a good exposure to what's happening outside our country and what's happening in the top institution of our country. It's a very good institution located in the forests, and you will get a feel of the officer life, the premium life that this institution has to offer. And there are other scopes as subjects as well. I'll keep on talking about them from time to time. My purpose was this, that because we are very less aware of the scope of biology, we normally appear for only one examination. But I'm trying to tell you there are other things as well. So if you prepare properly for this 1 year, at the end of this year, you will be definitely able to go somewhere which you can choose according to your preferences. So what we need to do, what I need to understand from you, please try to take a look at the chapter very seriously, try to understand these concepts, and these will be used in some way or the other in the final examination. the questions that I will give to you, the questions that any teacher will give to you, they might not be asked in the exact physical form, but they will be asked by changing the language. So while we do this, we must understand that any examination is not just a test of physics, chemistry or biology. It's also a test of the language. By test of language, I mean that synonyms, alternative names are used in a high amount in all examinations today. So we'll be able to do this only if we keep a focus, if we understand the meaning of the words, if we understand the meaning of the concepts, because words can be interchanged, a lot of things can be word played. So I hope you will be following me closely on this, and we'll keep talking about this from time to time. Okay, dear students, now we'll start with the main topic. Our course starts now. Okay, I hope I didn't bore you. I consider it very necessary that we should talk at all first about what we are going to do. Okay, so let me give you a brief introduction of the course that is in 11th and 12th. So biology, first of all, what do we mean by biology? We want to study about living organisms. Okay, what do living organisms have? They have life, and so we need to, the first chapter, the living world and understanding life, it deals with the properties of living organisms. Alright, it deals with the properties of living organisms, and thereafter, once you have studied the properties of living organisms, biological organisms, then we need to understand what is the way that we are going to study all the living organisms in the world. Are you getting me? How are we going to study all the living organisms in the world? So, do you have any idea how many living organisms are in the world total? What is the total number of living organisms in the world that we have discovered till date? Do you know? 1.7 to 1.8 million. Okay, 1.2 million are animals and 0.5 million are plants. Okay, not exactly 2 million. All right. The estimated number of the total organisms is 35 million maybe, according to some estimates, but it is expected that we'll be able to discover only some species out of these, and out of these species that we have discovered, 1.7 million have been described in very much details. Okay, so these organisms are described in great detail. We'll talk about it later. So how are we going to study about 1.7 million organisms? It's a huge number. I hope you understand this. It's a huge number. So how are you going to understand this? How are you going to study 1.7 million organisms? Do you have any idea? Suppose if I ask the names of whoever is sitting in your class. So you know the names of the people who are sitting in your class, but the thing is, can you give me the names of everybody who is studying in your school or in your coaching? That will be very difficult for you. So whenever we can not understand all the people around us, all the organisms around us, we try to make mental categories. Okay, so you maybe you call your friends by some names, okay, your nicknames, and these nicknames might be very common. Okay, so I will not go into the details. You already know what I'm talking about. So we try to give some nicknames, and some nicknames are so common that if anybody else hears this nickname, he will immediately understand, he will have a mental picture that this person should be like this. Okay, so in biology, what we do is, we try to give some categories, and these categories are called taxonomy, taxonomical categories: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. These are the categories or the nicknames. Okay, and each category has a specific set of characters. So if you try to say something to other persons, like if I say that this organism is a mammal, it is a category or a nickname, anybody will understand this. If I am trying to describe some category as a mammal, animal as a mammal, it immediately means that that animal must have mammary glands, it must have placenta, or it must have some other characters, okay. So it must be viviparous. There are some characters of mammals you know already very well. So based on these, I can form a mental picture, okay. So I need to give some set of instructions, some characteristic features about some categories, and these we have to study in the following chapters. First of all, we studied about life, living world. Then we need to study about classification. This is your first and second chapter part. After the study about classification, then you need to understand the biggest categories. These are the 5 kingdoms, okay. And out of these 5 kingdoms, we have Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Monera, Protista, Fungi will be studied in very less detail, okay. We do not need to study great detail about Monera, Protista, Fungi. But Plantae and Animalia we will be studying very much detail. Plants and animals are very important, okay. So plant kingdom and animal kingdom, that is the next chapter. You have to then study, after studying 5 kingdoms, you have to study plant kingdom, then you have to study animal kingdom. And in plant kingdom, we will be studying algae, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnosperm, fungi. In animal kingdom, you already know how much vast it is. You always love animal kingdom, right? So many animals. I believe you must be able to learn the biological name of each and every animal that is in NCERT, right? It's a great deal of fun, right? Everybody wants to learn it. So easy. Okay, I'm joking. I understand how bad that must feel, right? But we need to practice again and again, and after that, it will be becoming very easy for us to remember these names. Okay. I also had a hard time remembering these names. Okay, but it's fine. We'll keep on revising it, and by that it will come into our common practice. So plant kingdom and animal kingdom we have to study in great detail. So how do you suppose if a new student comes in your class, Shillong and Churachandpur, first of all, what mental image do you have of it? For suppose somebody walks into your class, so how do you try to describe him? First of all, you do not know anything about that person who is walking in. So how will you judge him? How will you try to describe him? You will look at his external characters, right? You will try to see how he looks like. He is wearing a cap. Suppose he is wearing specs like me, okay? So we have this image that if somebody is wearing specs or goggles, he must be a studious person. He must be a nerd or he must be a geek, right? So we have this, okay, suppose some girl walks in and she is wearing glasses. So normally we have a mental picture that somebody is wearing glasses. It means that person is a studious person, okay. That person must be intelligent. Whether he is or not, whether she is or not, that will become clear later on. But first we look at the external characteristics. So in the similar fashion in plant and animal kingdom, we will look at the external characteristics. That is called morphology. So first you will study morphology of plants, then you will study morphology of animals. Morphology of plants means root, stem, leaf, tissues, etc. Okay. Morphology of animals, tissues, etc. The plant tissues are less complex, animal tissues are more complex. So that is why that chapter is having more pages, more details, more tissues, okay. Now, when that person who has walked into your room, a new student, then you try to talk to that person. You analyze that person based on what he's saying. You get an insight about what he's thinking, okay. You get an insight about what his dreams, aspirations are. For example, I did not know who you people are, but based on what you have interacted to me, like one wants to become a cardiologist, one wants to become a pediatrician. So based on these things, I formed a mental picture, try to understand what psychology do you have, what dreams and aspirations do you have. So similarly, you will talk to some person and you will try to understand what that person is. Okay, you might say that this person is worse than I thought, okay. You might think about that about me. I do not think about that about you. I think you people are very nice, sweet people. But you might think of that about me. I'm just joking, all right. So based on this, you form an mental image. Okay. So what you have exactly done? The thing you have done is that you have tried to internally analyze the thoughts and processes of that person. Okay. By going into the details. Similarly, we will go into the details of plants and animals. We will cut cross sections. Okay. Just like you cut cross sections of your friends. You ask questions and you make jokes about them and try to understand their psychology. Okay. So we cut cross sections of plants and animals both. That is called anatomy. Okay. Plant morphology is done. External structure is done. Morphology of plant, morphology of animals. Then comes anatomy of plants, anatomy of animals. This is one part of unit. Now when you have understood about anatomy, then we need to understand how that person, how that thing is functioning. Okay. So you will observe a person's behavior with other people, right? So that is how we exactly do in plants and animals also. We try to observe the behavior of internal cells. Okay. So first of all, we need to know about the plant cell, animal cell. So there is another chapter in your class 11th syllabus that is called cell. Then after knowing about cell, we need to understand how cells divide. Okay. So plant cell, animal cell, differences you have done from class 8th, 9th, 10th. You already know about it. But then we need to study about cell division, how a cell is giving rise to different cell. After that, we need to understand how those cells are functioning in accordance with each other, how they are interacting with each other. That is called physiology. Okay. So that we have to study in plant. I already told you we have to study about plants and animals. So plant physiology is one unit: mineral nutrition, photosynthesis, respiration, translocation of food, movement of water and minerals, closing of stomata. Everything comes in plant physiology, one unit. Then we have to talk about animal physiology. Animal physiology means human systems: digestive, circulatory, respiratory, excretory, nervous, endocrine. This is your class 11th syllabus. Okay. I hope you got an idea. Okay, just like we try to analyze a person who is walking into a classroom, we try to analyze all the living organisms, categorize them, internal structure. Now, this is a class 11 syllabus. Class 12 syllabus starts with the reproductive system. Okay. So, first of all, we have to study about reproduction. Then we need to study about plant reproduction. Okay. Again, plant and animal kingdom concepts. So, we have to study sexual reproduction in flowering plants, class 12th, second chapter. Third chapter is class 12th, human reproduction. And then it is reproductive health. Every year, reproductive health chapter will definitely carry some questions in your AIMS, in your JIPMER examination and your NEET examination. If you have seen that, I already told the students who were studying that you will always get questions from two chapters which are fixed. And that also, a topic is also fixed. In reproductive health, question will be asked from contraceptives. You need to pay a lot of attention to that. In human reproduction, question will come from menstrual cycle. You can see the NEET examination question paper. It's fixed. Okay. So reproductive health, and in ecology there is a chapter called biodiversity. It will always carry some questions. Okay, no exception. CBSE and gives a lot of importance to these two chapters also, and also in the boards. Okay, and after reproduction we have genetics. We are trying to dig deeper into our friends, deeper into our enemies. So similarly, we are trying to go inside plants and animals, inside the cell. So we are going to study about genetics, study of inheritance principles. So genetics is one unit. Then we have biotechnology, how we manipulate our friends, how we manipulate the genes. Manipulating genes is genetics, biotechnology. After that, we need to study how plants and animals live in accordance with each other, with the physical environment. That means ecology. So this is a very brief summary of the syllabus that you have in class 11th and 12th. I hope you enjoyed a small part of it. Okay. We try to, my attempt is always to relate everything to something in our daily life. So if we try to understand biology subject as in this fashion, we will get an idea how CBSE has arranged the chapters in a particular order. And I will be teaching this to you in this same order only. Okay, I will start from the living world, then I will move on to classification, then I will move on to plant kingdom, and then I will move on to cell, and after cell I will move on to cell division, after that plant physiology. So this is what I have to do in class 11 syllabus. After that we will talk about class 12 syllabus. Okay, so Meenakshi ma'am and I will be taking both of these things. I believe you already had a class with her, so let me carry on now. So first of all, we are going to talk about living world. Okay, so please tell me now, what do you mean by what do you mean by life? Life is very difficult to describe. We have not been able to create life. We have done a lot of scientific attempts. We have done a lot of experiments. We have created reducing atmosphere, oxidizing atmosphere, neutral atmosphere, vacuum atmosphere, but we have not been able to create life by any means possible. In nature, some scientists have described it as omnis cellula e cellula. It's a Latin term. It means all living cells arise from previous living cells only. Okay, so what are the properties related to living organisms? Let's start with this. What are the properties of living organisms? Yes, students, what are the properties? You already have studied it, right? Come on, let's be fast. What are the properties of living organisms? Okay, no answers. Okay, maybe you don't want to get it from your chairs. Okay, let me explain to you. All living organisms, they have some properties which are essential, which are fundamental to their existence. Okay, so we can say that all living organisms grow. All living organisms, we have a general theory. We'll see if it is true or not later on. Living organisms grow, living organisms reproduce, living organisms breathe. Okay, you can try closing the nose of your friend and your mouth and suffocate him. Let us see if he is able to breathe or not. Okay, he is living or not after some time. Okay, so living organisms breathe, they eat food, they do a lot of things. All of these things I will categorize into a single system, single property called metabolism. Okay, so living organisms grow, reproduce, they are metabolizing, they show metabolism, and they show consciousness. Okay, so these are 4 properties of living organisms, not more, only 4. Okay, why only 4? NCERT has described only 4. We are not going to go into the details given in some books which have listed 5, 6 properties. Please don't get confused in that. I'll explain how metabolism includes all those 5, 6 properties that they are talking about. So living organisms show some basic properties such as growth, reproduction, metabolism, fourth is consciousness. Okay, So these are four basic properties that we attribute to the living organisms. I hope this is clear, right? Okay. So now please tell me, what do you mean by growth? What is the meaning of growth, or what is the definition of growth? Okay. So please try to tell me this. How do you understand growth? How do you define growth? All right, you are thinking still. Look, no answers yet. Come on, at least try to give me a guess. How do you define growth? You can say that anybody who drinks Cadbury, Bonvita or drinks Complan, they show growth, right? There are a lot of advertisements which stress about growth and growth, okay? In the example of you people, I will say that you will show growth up till 90 to 20 years of age. That is the maximum time you will grow tall up to. Increase in mass and height, yeah, very good. But actually, I'll just shorten your statement, very good. Increase in mass is termed as growth. Not exactly height, but it's very good that you have done it. The simple meaning of growth is increase in mass. Increase in mass is termed as growth. Okay, increase in mass is termed as growth. Okay, so now please tell me, what is the difference between growth? First of all, do non-living objects show growth? Yes or no? Chura Chandpur, you are not answering. Do non-living objects show growth? Yes or no? It's a fairly easy question. Okay, all right. Non-living objects, yeah, one of the student can sit close to the computer to answer the questions on the behalf of others as well. Yeah, that's good, Shillong. Chura Chandpur student, I believe you must be sitting close. So you answer as well. If you are, look, I want you people to answer, okay? If you say something wrong, I'll correct you, okay? And it's fairly easy, okay? So please don't mind if you're saying wrong, I'll correct you, okay? So please try to clear doubts as much as you can, try to answer as much as you can. Post your doubts in between session also, I don't mind that, okay? So let's try to understand this. Look, you all have wooden doors in your home, right? Wooden doors in our homes, we have all, everybody has. Now soon, in about 2 months, rainy season is going to come. And in that season, it's always going to be a problem for opening doors. If you try to open a door, it has increased in size. It has fallen. Are you getting me? Wood is dead. Wood is non-living object. Okay. I believe you do not have a tree as a door. Okay. Not a living tree. Nobody has a living tree as a door. So what we have is a dead mass of tissue. That dead mass of tissue is a non-living object. So that is what wood is actually. So on absorbing water, moisture from the air, the wooden door is going to increase in size and we will have difficulty in opening it. That is clear to everybody, right? So why has this happened? It has increased in mass. It has become larger in size. Okay, it has increased in mass. Yes, living objects as well as non-living living organisms as well as non-living objects, both will show growth. Okay, so please write this. Non-living objects as well as living organisms show growth. Okay, non-living objects as well as living organisms, they will show growth. Okay, so example, snow falling on a mountain, snow falling on mountain causes growth of mountain peaks. Growth of mountain peaks, wood absorbing water, etc. Okay, this is clear, right? So non-living objects will also show growth, living objects will also show growth. Now please tell me, what is the difference? What is the difference between growth shown by non-living objects and growth by living organisms? What is the difference that you can perceive? What is the difference that you can think of? I want to know about that. Okay, Priyanka, Daisy, Vantei, and I forgot the other names. Can you answer? You can discuss this among yourselves, okay? If it's not necessary that a single person should answer, you can pass on the answers, okay? Shillong, of anybody. If you want to write your names, it will be very good. I will be able to learn your names as well. What is the difference between growth by living organisms and non-living objects? There is a very strong difference between them. Okay. I'll wait for your answer to type, okay. You can think of the time when you were a small child. I'll give you a hint. You can think of a time when you were a small child. Because growth by a non-living object is not permanent. Yeah, very good. Growth by a non-living object is reversible. Okay, it can change at any time. You have used the word permanent. It means that same in my language also. We'll say the growth by living organisms is permanent, or you can use a different term, is irreversible. Irreversible. Whereas just a second. Whereas the growth by non-living objects is reversible. There is one more way in which we can describe it. Okay, there is one more way. You can say in non-living object the growth is extrinsic, external growth. Okay, it has occurred from the outside. For example, if the season changes quickly from rainy season to winter season, autumn season, then the wood regains its original shape and size. Okay, the growth is not occurring because the number of wood cells has increased. It is not because of that. Something has deposited externally, okay, and it is going to be quickly taken out also. So we can say that in one case there is extrinsic growth, in the other case there is intrinsic or internal growth. Alright? So we'll say it like this. Growth in non-living objects is extrinsic growth, whereas the growth by living organisms is intrinsic growth. Okay. So whenever you go to your cousins' homes, okay, so our grandmothers, okay, they will treat you nicely and you will given a lot of mass, okay. She will treat you to a lot of sweets, a lot of cakes, a lot of things, okay. So you will gain a lot of mass, and that increase in mass is because you have gained an increase in number of cells, okay. So growth by living organism is intrinsic growth, okay. Growth in living organism is irreversible growth. We cannot go, I must ask you this first, try to understand this. Suppose we gain some increase in mass, okay, so we become slightly fat, okay, we become a bit of cherubic, we gain some mass because the grandmothers are treating us nicely and it's holiday time. So you gain in mass and then you suddenly lose that mass. So does this mean that growth in living organism is reversible? Yes or no? Does this mean that growth in living organism is reversible? I have already written that growth in non-living is reversible. So is this statement false? What I want you people to do is think, yeah. No. We have increased in mass because of some cells have increased. Similarly, cells can die also, but that growth is internal. It's irreversible growth. You cannot go back to the time when you were in nursery class. Okay, a small change can increase or decrease. That can be in case of every living organism. But we can say that over the period of time when we were a small juvenile, like a placenta, like a zygote, embryo, then we were a small baby, there is a continuous growth, okay, up till puberty, and after puberty the growth decreases, growth rate starts to decrease, and then it becomes constant, and our body mass will remain same throughout, our height will remain same throughout. So small number of cells can increase or decrease, but we cannot go back to the time when we were in nursery class, right? It would have been so nice to go back to the nursery class. Our parents would have to feed us so less, and we will be so happy. We will we will be topping in every class, right? But sadly, that is not possible. Okay, we want to remain as such, but our parents would kick us out. Okay, so anyway. Growth in living organism is irreversible. Okay, so you get it. Now let us move on to the next property, reproduction. So what do you understand by reproduction? Why do we undergo reproduction? What is the purpose of reproduction? What is reproduction actually meant for? You can answer this. If you're finding difficulty in defining reproduction, you can start by thinking, what is the definition of species? What is the definition of species? You can start by thinking about that. Then you can better define reproduction, okay? So how you define reproduction? To ensure the continuity of species. Yeah, very good. Look, we define species as a group of individuals which can freely interbreed with one another. Okay? A group of individuals which can freely interbreed among themselves. That is defined as reproduction. Now, the purpose of reproduction, it is to maintain continuity of life, because death is going to result in, death is inevitable for every organism. Every organism who has been born, it has to die. So no organism can live forever. So what we have to do? We have to reproduce to balance the loss due to death. Okay? To maintain the continuity of species, to maintain a population, we have to reproduce so that some individuals will always remain. Alright? So that is the purpose of reproduction. You can say reproduction is a process by which an individual produces similar or exactly similar organisms to maintain continuity of life. To maintain continuity of life or species. Okay? That is what is meant by reproduction. Yeah, process of producing offspring is reproduction. Now I have made some changes to this definition. I have written produces similar or exactly similar. I like to discuss these two things. Exactly similar means a parent is giving rise to an organism which is exactly the clone copy. It is the exact ditto same copy, or has the exact physical, external and internal appearance same to the parent. This is called asexual reproduction. Are you getting me? This is called asexual reproduction. Now I have used another term in this definition, which is similar. We all are the children of our parents, but we are not the exact copy. Are you getting me? We are not the exact copies. We are similar to our parents. Our parents and normally say, like for example, our mothers will say that your nose is very similar to mine. Your eyes have gone on me. All of your good habits are inherited from my side, but each and every of your bad habit is inherited from your daddy and your father's side and your grandfather's side. Okay, so all good things are from me and all bad things are from other people. Okay, so this is genetics. But you're not the exact copy of your father. You're not the exact copy of your mother. Okay, if that was not true, what will happen is in every family, if the son is born, it is going to be exactly similar to his father. If a daughter was born, it was exactly similar to her mother. but that is not the case, okay. So we are the product of our fathers and mothers, and we are similar to them. We carry some similarities, there might be some unique combinations also, but we are not exactly similar. So this is called sexual reproduction. You already know, you are the droppers, you already know what meiosis, sexual reproduction creates variations, alright, variations. So we are looking like this because we are variation product of our parents, meiosis, okay. So that is why in this definition I have written similar or exactly similar to maintain continuity of life, okay. Now my next question to you all is, please try to tell me, do all living organisms reproduce? Yes or no? Do all living organisms reproduce? Can every living organism reproduce? Yes or no? It's a fairly simple question. You have to answer in yes or no. Churachandpur, dear student, please also participate. I hope your chat is working fine, okay. So if it is working fine, please try to answer. If it is wrong, I'll correct you, okay. Please do not be afraid. Please do not feel shy. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen to you people, okay. So please participate as much as you can. I can only see Shillong students participating. Churachandpur student, please participate in the discussion. If there is something I can help you with, please let me know. I hope my words are clear to you. I hope you are able to understand my language, okay. Can every living organism reproduce? No. Yeah, that is true. Not every living organism can reproduce. We have the case of some sterile human couples which cannot reproduce. Either it is because the male is producing immotile sperms, less number of sperms, oligospermia, something like that, or on the other hand, the female is not producing eggs, or her eggs are being blocked by the fallopian tube due to excessive production of mucus, or her eggs are not fertile. Due to many reasons, both male and female can be sterile, or they both can be sterile, resulting in no production of human babies. One example is this in your NCERT, so I mentioned it. So I will write it. Not all living organisms can reproduce. Example. Not all living organisms can reproduce. Example, sterile human couples okay. Another example that is also given in your book is worker honeybee. Worker honeybee. Any more examples that you remember? Mule, mules, etc. Worker honeybee, mules, etc. Sterile human couples, I already told you what is the reason. Worker honeybee is a sterile female. Sterile female. Now, can you tell me what mule is? Mule is a cross between this and this. Can you tell me mule is a cross between which two animals? Can you tell me the cross, which is male or female or what it is? Mule is a cross between which two animals? Donkey and horse, everybody knows it. But which is male, which is female? Which is male, which is female? Okay, let me start with something else. Like all donkeys, they have some things like donkeys have a lot of patience. Okay, donkeys have a lot of patience, and a horse has a lot of stamina. So you can overload a donkey, but you cannot overload a horse. If you overload a horse, it will push everything away. It will start kicking. It will start beating the master and so things. Okay. But in the case of donkeys, unless it is about to die, it will be carrying all the workload from its master. So somebody had a thought that why not have an animal which is having the patience of a donkey but the stamina of a horse, and that is how a mule was born. In the case of mammals, there is a brief period in which they allow reproduction. In the case of animals, particularly in the case of females, females are sexually receptive or sexually active for a very less period of time in a particular year. They're not active throughout. For example, in the case of humans, both males and females are active throughout the year. They can undergo reproduction at any time of the year. But in case of animals, there is only a brief window of time. That is called the heat period. So a male donkey and a female horse, they are kept in the heat period with each other, and that is how a mule can be born. Male donkey and a female horse cross. That gives rise to mule. Okay. A mule is a cross between male donkey and a female horse. Please pay attention. If you reverse the order, will it result in the same mule animal or a different animal? If I take a male horse, female donkey, will it result in the same animal or a different animal? And what is the name of that animal if there is another animal? Yeah, you can discuss among this yourselves, okay? The boys are discussing, the girls are not taking part. Please take active part in the discussion, okay? I can see you Shillong students. Okay? I want all of you to take part in everything, okay? So I don't want my class to be a dull class. I want you people to participate. Look, this might seem boring to you, but actually the questions in NEET examination has been asked. If I cross a female donkey and a male horse, I will get a hinni. You will not get a mule. Okay? A male horse crossed with female donkey, that will give a hinni. Okay? So mule is a different animal, hinni is a different animal, and worker honeybee is a sterile female. Now let me tell you, worker, do you know the social structure of honeybees? Social structure of honeybee. There are three categories. Worker, queen, drone. Worker, queen, drone. Worker is sterile female. Queen is fertile female. And drone is fertile male. Honeybee, look, it depends upon the type of food the honeybee is eating. It depends upon type of food honeybee is eating. Female worker honeybee, it arises from a fertilized egg which has been fed with some nutritionless food. There is some food which is lacking in some nutrition, and because of that, she is not able to become sexually receptive, sexually active. So she remains sterile for life. Queen is fed on royal jelly. She is fed on the most nutritious substance after coming out from the egg. So she becomes a queen. And in the case of drone arises from unfertilized eggs. It has become a male. Okay. So three different structures, and worker is sterile female. It cannot lay eggs. It cannot reproduce with the drone. Now in the case of mule, mule is sterile. But what is the reason of sterility of mule? Look, by crossing a male donkey and a female horse, you will get a male mule and a female mule. Now, can we not produce mules by crossing a male mule with a female mule? Why do we need to cross a horse with a donkey every time? Is mule fertile or sterile? Is mule fertile or sterile? Have you seen mule? Look, mules are very common in the hilly areas. Mules are very common in the hilly areas. They are used for carrying large amount of loads. They appear to be a cross between a horse, so they will look like a half horse and a half donkey. And try to understand this. Mule is sterile because the male mule has immotile sperms. The female mule is fertile. Male mule is sterile, so they cannot produce new children. Okay, they cannot produce new children. All right. Otherwise, we will not be needing to cross a horse with a donkey every time. Once we have created a species, it should go on with reproducing among themselves. Hinni is also sterile. Okay. Mules are sterile because this question has been asked. Oh yeah, one more thing, Hinni and mule. The question has been asked in NEET examination. Question has been asked in NEET examination about how mules are created. Is it a male horse or a female donkey, or is it a male donkey and a female horse? Mules are sterile because male mules have immotile sperms. They have reproductive organs, but sperms are not motile. Have immotile sperms. Alright. Now there are some things you need to know. According to the definition of species, species is a group of individuals which can freely interbreed among themselves. Getting me? A species is a group of individuals which can freely interbreed among themselves. Okay? Normally a horse and a donkey will not reproduce. Horses reproduce with horses, donkeys reproduce with donkeys. So, mule is an exception of definition of species. Species, I told you the definition, is a group of individuals which can freely interbreed with one another. Now we are forcing them to interbreed with one another. So this becomes an example of interspecific hybrid. A hybrid obtained by crossing two different species, it is called interspecific hybrid. Now, two other interspecific hybrids have been asked in your NEET examination. One is liger, other is tigon. You can Google what is liger. Liger looks like a half lion, half tiger. Liger is a cross between a male lion. This is a symbol for male. Okay, this is a symbol for male. Male lion and a cross between a female tiger. Then there is tigon. Male tiger, female lion. Okay, so we learned 4 interspecific hybrids today. Interspecific hybrid, I need to define it here. hybrid obtained by crossing two species. A hybrid obtained by crossing two different species. Example, mule, hinny, liger, tiger. Liger, tigon, etc. There are many more examples as well. So whenever we know something but want to expand it, we write etc. Right? Alright. So let's continue with this. I hope you have written it. If you have missed something, let me know, okay? If you want me to scroll up or down, let me know, okay? Okay, I believe you're writing some doubt or something. Okay, I have not received anything up till now. Maybe the chat room is slow. Okay, so interspecific hybrid is done. Now please tell me, how are growth and reproduction related in unicellular organisms? How are growth and reproduction related in unicellular organisms? Look, if I talk about growth of microorganisms, okay, growth of microorganisms means they will start to reproduce. They will start to undergo binary fission. So after binary fission, two organisms are going to be formed from one single organism. One single organism has given rise to two different organisms of the same shape and size. Now, this means that in unicellular organism, growth and reproduction are mutually linked with each other. They are mutually linked with each other. So in AIMS, this question has been asked, growth and reproduction in unicellular organisms are mutually inclusive properties. You will write growth and reproduction in unicellular organisms are mutually inclusive properties. What about multicellular organisms? It will be the exact opposite. You will write growth and reproduction in multicellular organisms are mutually exclusive properties. Both are important for reason and assertion type questions. Mutually inclusive, mutually exclusive. Let me explain once again. Mutually inclusive means when growth is occurring, reproduction is also happening at the same very time. Exclusive means when growth is happening, reproduction will not occur. When reproduction is happening, growth will not happen. Okay. Example in the case of human beings. Please try to remember when you were growing taller and taller in height. So at that time, that was just before your puberty. Now, as soon as puberty hits, your growth is going to slow down. Okay, it is not going to stop, but it is going to slow down. Okay, So growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive in multicellular organism. Growth will happen when reproduction is not happening, and reproduction will happen when growth has stopped or is going slower and slower. So after 19-20 years of age, you will not grow further. Okay, so that is called mutually exclusive property. Is there any exception to this thing? Yes, there is. In plants, there is indefinite growth. They will grow throughout the life. You can say, however, plants are exception. However, plants are exception to this rule. They show indefinite growth throughout life. Okay. All right. Now, is there any exception? Living organism will show reproduction, non-living will not show reproduction, but not all living organisms will show reproduction. All right. Let's write about the third property now. Metabolism. How do you define metabolism? How do you define metabolism? How do you define metabolism? You already told me about locomotion, you already told me about digestion. Now, how are you going to define metabolism in a definition which sums all these processes into one single line? Okay. You are performing locomotion, you are able to perform digestion, you are able to think properly, you are able to undergo excretion, you are able to undergo circulation by your circulatory system. All this is possible because of what thing? Because of energy. Energy and tissues. So I can say that I have some tissues which are made by different cells, and they have been performing some processes by the help of energy. So in one line, if I have to write all this, I will say all the living processes, chemical reactions which are occurring inside the boundary of cell membrane or within the cell, these chemical reactions are called living reactions or metabolic reactions. I hope you get this. All the reactions which are occurring within the boundary of the cell by the help of enzymes or whatever, they are called living reactions or metabolic reactions. All right. So let's write this. All the reactions occurring within the boundary of cell membrane are called living reactions or metabolic reactions, and metabolism is the sum total of all living reactions. Metabolic reactions. Metabolism is the sum of all metabolic reactions in the cell. This is the compact, concise, sufficient definition of metabolism. All right. So let me ask you this now. Is metabolism an exclusive property of living organisms only? I can ask this in a different way. Do non-living objects show metabolism? Do non-living objects show metabolism? Yes or no? Come on. Non-living objects, suppose some person is dead. Okay. Some person is dead. How will you check it? You will take your hand near his heart. Okay, or try to feel whether he is breathing or not. Suppose your friend is acting dead in a drama. How are you going to check whether he is acting or he is really in trouble? You will try to feel his heartbeat. If his heartbeat is normal, then there is no problem at all. If his heartbeat is erratic or something, there is you note something is off, then you will immediately call the ambulance. Okay, that my enemy is lying on the floor and there is something that has happened to him. Okay. So never I wish for that for your friends. I never wish for your enemies also. I'm just joking. So how will you check whether somebody is acting or he is really serious? You will try to check their breath. Okay. So the thing is, non-living objects cannot show metabolism at all. There is no exception. There is no exception at all. Only living organisms will show metabolism, and there is no exception. Only living organisms show metabolism. No exception. Okay. All right. Now let's come on to the fourth property. One more thing. Metabolism is divided into two categories. Metabolism is divided into two categories. One is called catabolism. Another is called anabolism. Catabolism means breakdown reactions. Okay, destructive processes, destructive cell reactions or destructive metabolism. Okay, destructive reactions or destructive metabolism. Anabolism is constructive reaction or constructive metabolism. Example of destructive reaction is respiration. Respiration is breakdown of glucose. Constructive reaction is making or construction. An example is photosynthesis. Okay. So photosynthesis is constructive. Destructive example is respiration. So that is what is meant by metabolism. Okay. Now let us carry on to the fourth property, consciousness. Now please tell me, how do you define consciousness? How do you define consciousness? What is a concise way in which you can define consciousness? Response to the environment. Not exactly environment. We should be a little more specific. Yeah, very good. Anyway, but you should be a little more specific. Like you can say, consciousness means response towards a particular stimulus. Consciousness means response towards a particular stimulus. Okay. Suppose you are sitting and your friend sitting on the back takes the pen and pinches it in your elbow, okay, from behind. So you will be startled and you will show a reaction, okay. So you will show him your angry stare or something. So the thing is, whenever an organism faces a stimulus, he will react according to that stimulus. This is called consciousness. Now, my question to you is, do unicellular organisms like amoeba, can they show consciousness, yes or no? Can unicellular organisms show consciousness, yes or no? Can amoeba show consciousness? Can amoeba show consciousness, yes or no? You can take a guess. I allow you to make guesses. I'll explain, of course. Yeah, amoeba can show response towards stimulus. Let me explain how. Suppose this is a glass slide. I put a drop of pond water containing amoeba. Then I spread amoeba all over the surface, and then I pour a small bit of acid. Suppose I put some HCl here. Amoeba will move from this end. Suppose this end is where I put a drop of hydrochloric acid. So amoeba will move from this side to the upper side. Okay, it is showing negative response. Now instead of this, I give a small bit of electric current. I pass a small bit of electric current where I place two electrodes, one here, another here. Amoeba will immediately avoid electric current. It will try to move towards the opposite end of glass slide. Again a negative response. Now I focus sunlight with the help of a convex lens on this part. Amoeba will avoid strong light and it will move towards darker side or medium light condition. So it has shown negative response to all three. Now I suddenly put some glucose solution or food solution here. Amoeba will move from this end to this end. So a positive response and some negative responses. So this shows amoeba has some consciousness. Now please tell me, if amoeba has the consciousness, it is running towards food, and somebody brings a pizza in your class, you also try to run towards that particular pizza. So what is the difference between us and amoeba? Is the consciousness of humans, is the consciousness of a monkey or amoeba running towards a pizza, is it one and the same thing, or is it different? Is it one and the same thing, or is it having some difference? Suppose there is a monkey outside your classroom and it sees the pizza and it comes inside the classroom, okay? So it has jumped from the tree to your classroom, and the people sitting at the back benches, suppose somebody makes a large pizza in your room, so everybody starts to eat. So what is the difference between the consciousness of animals versus the consciousness of humans? Is there any difference, yes or no? Is there any difference in the consciousness of humans and animals, yes or no? Students, it should not be very boring. Come on, you can answer faster. Okay. Um, well, you were close, but actually there is a difference. Yes, there is a difference between the consciousness of humans versus the other animals. In humans, the most advanced form of consciousness called self-consciousness is seen. Okay. Has anybody of you seen a movie called Planet of the Apes? It's a science fiction movie. Has anybody seen that movie? Or maybe you have seen Alien versus Predator or Predator movies? Has anybody seen Planet of the Apes? Yeah, you have seen it. Okay. So it will be easier for you to understand. In Planet of the Apes, you can see there are a group of monkeys, apes, which are trying to live like humans. Okay. They have formed their own organization. They have formed their own cities. They try to attack the humans. They have formed their own societies. So that type of consciousness is called self-consciousness. Self-consciousness. Right now it is seen only in humans. Humans have the most advanced form of consciousness called self-consciousness. It is seen only in humans. You are conscious, you are trying to raise your standard, living standard, you are trying to raise the living standard of your whole society. We care about everything and we try to improve and accommodate these changes in ourselves, in our environment. We are very much aware of our individual identity. Okay, a monkey might not be aware of his individual identity as much as we are. That is called self-consciousness. Okay. Yeah, great. I'll be using a lot of examples from the movies because I watch a lot of science fiction movies and a lot of things, and I believe these things help in learning a lot of things as well. Okay. So if anybody has not seen these movies, you can at least watch the trailer of the Planet of the Apes. You will be able to understand what I'm talking. No need to watch the whole movie. Maybe your parents will not approve, but I can recommend a trailer. You can watch the trailer with the help of your friends. Okay. So the thing is, consciousness, the definition of consciousness is, it is defined as response to the stimulus. Ability to respond to a stimulus, it is called consciousness. Is called consciousness. Okay. Ability to respond to a stimulus is called consciousness. Now humans have the most advanced form of consciousness called self-consciousness. Only in humans most advanced form of consciousness called self-consciousness is seen. Okay. So we see self-consciousness only in human beings, not in others. Okay, so we want break. Okay, you can take a break. 5 minutes. That should be sufficient. Okay, you can take a 5-minute break. Okay, be quick. Okay, dear students, I believe the break is over. Okay, so yeah. So I told you that in humans we have the most advanced form of consciousness, which is called self-consciousness. This consciousness is present only in humans, and it's an exclusive property. So we understand the meaning of life, we try to explore our galaxy, we try to know about universe, and we do not see monkeys do that, right? Okay. So only in Planet of the Apes they might do that, but right now not on the present timeline. So consciousness, is it present in non-living objects? No. We will say consciousness is an exclusive property of living things. Is present only in living organisms and absent in non-living. Okay. All right. So after these four properties, I need to define one more thing. Okay. I need to define one more thing now. Now I have to select a property out of these four properties which has a particular set of characters. This is called a universal property. I want to select a universal property out of these four properties, or I have another name for it. It is also called a defining property. Okay. So what is the defining property? Let us see. What is a universal property, defining property? It should have two characteristics. Two characteristics. Okay. First character of a defining property is it should be absent in non-living. Should be absent in non-living. It should be absent in non-living. Second thing, it should be present only in living with no exceptions. Should have no exceptions in living organisms. Should have no exceptions in living organisms. Okay. So these are the four characteristics of, two characteristics of universal property. Now I will ask you all to select out of these four properties that I have taught you today: growth, reproduction, metabolism and consciousness. Please tell me which is universal property or a defining property. It can be more than one. It can be all four also. Please tell me which properties are defining properties. Is it growth? Is it reproduction? Is it metabolism? Or is it consciousness? This is my question to you all. Churachandpur, please student, you also try to attempt it. I am getting all the answers from Shillong students. So other centers also, please respond. Okay. I'm waiting for your answers, okay? You have to select the proper, correct universal property or defining property out of growth, reproduction, metabolism and consciousness. Okay. Is that the only answer? I hope everybody is unanimous on it, or if you have different answers, please let me know. Is it the same for everybody, or does anybody have a different opinion? Other centers also, please participate. If you are wrong, I'll correct you, okay? If you're wrong, I'll correct you. Please don't feel shy. Okay. Yeah. Only metabolism and consciousness are defining properties. Growth is present in non-living. It cannot be a defining property. And in case of reproduction, it is shown by living organism only. It is absent in non-living. It fulfills the first criteria, but it does not, reproduction does not fulfill the second criteria. All living organisms cannot reproduce. So, reproduction cannot be a defining property. Third criteria, metabolism. Yes, I told you metabolism has no exceptions and absent in non-living. So, metabolism becomes a defining property. Consciousness, no exception, present only in living, absent in non-living, definitely it is a defining property. Now, why I have written this? It is normally asked, one reason is, normally it is asked that which of the following property is a defining property? One question can be this, other question is this. I'll ask you an applied question based on defining property. Now let's understand this. Suppose I'm talking about a coma patient. Is coma patient living or non-living? Is coma patient living or non-living? Or both? So first try to see this. If any object shows defining property, it means it should definitely be a living object or a living organism. Okay, so if you are given an unknown material, unknown condition, unknown situation, you will first of all see whether it shows metabolism and consciousness, both or one property. If it shows at least one, it should be living. And normally it will show both. Normally it will show both. So, okay. So, if I find that there is a trace of a biological property, a universal property, I will say that that object or organism is a living organism. Okay. So, please tell me whether a coma patient should be considered living or should he be considered or she be considered non-living. And if you are considering it non-living, what is the criteria? If you are considering it living, what is the criteria? Or you should consider it both. Okay, you have a discussion. Any consensus? Have you reached a conclusion? I believe you have. Okay, so you are typing it. Let me see what conclusion you have come up to. No. It is living. Coma patient, although he is unconscious, if you try to slap him, if you try to beat him, he will not react to you. Okay. Anybody has seen a movie called Kill Bill? There is a movie by Uma Thurman, a very famous movie, Kill Bill. In that, the main protagonist or the female actress, yeah, she is in a coma. Okay, you have seen it. Yeah, great. So she has the main actress in that movie, who wants to kill her husband Bill. Yeah, she is suffering from, she is going through coma. So, somebody is talking to her, she does not understand, okay? But her metabolism is working. You can see she was breathing, right? She had to have a haircut, she had to have Vaseline applied on her face and all that, and her nails were cut, so many things, okay? So when she woke up, you can see that her nails were normal. Coma patient shows growth, cannot show reproduction, although you can see that reproduction can be affected. Can be like a person who is in a coma can still undergo reproduction if the gametes are transferred. Okay, so she became pregnant. She was pregnant already, and she gave birth to a child, a girl, all during the time of her coma. She didn't know about it. So growth was happening, reproduction was also happening in a way, and metabolism was also happening. She was breathing, and she was not conscious. But metabolism is a defining property. So if you are seeing there is some defining property, you will see, you can describe that person or object as living. That was my purpose of defining a universal property, okay? So coma patient is a living organism. And lots of times coma patients do get up. For example, in that movie also, the actress got up, okay? And she remembered a lot of things after that. So coma patients regain consciousness. Their consciousness was very limited or it was absent, and suddenly they became conscious. But metabolism was always there. Okay? So normally we see both the things, but consciousness can sometimes be very limited. So coma patient is definitely living, not non-living. Okay? Alright. One more thing. Suppose another application. Suppose we have a mission Mars, okay? India is planning to go to Mars. And suppose we find bacteria or something. How many of you people have seen a movie called Species or Alien versus Predator? You have seen a movie Alien versus Predator, right? In that movie, in Alien versus Predator, you can see that there is a very scary looking alien, and that alien has a tissue sample, and that tissue sample can get into the human beings, and because of that tissue sample, the whole organism, the whole human organism is transformed into an alien organism. So if you get an unknown biological material and you want to test whether it is living or it is dead, how will you check it? You will check whether it shows metabolism, and you will check whether it shows consciousness. Okay, so whenever anybody tries to burn the species alien, whenever anybody tries to attack the predator alien, they show consciousness. Everybody is well aware. Okay, they try to shoot you back, they try to kill you. They show metabolism also, they show consciousness also. Okay, so they are living organisms. So if you get suppose somebody goes to Mars and finds Venom Spider-Man's coat or something, how will you test whether it is living or non-living? So we will test it by checking whether it is breathing, showing consciousness, or it is not. Okay, so that's how we do it. Okay, so now another question: virus. Is virus living or non-living or both? Now in the basis of defining property, you will solve this question. Yeah. Virus can neither be said to be living, virus can neither be classified as non-living. We have to say it is both. Okay, we have to say it is both. Why? Because virus does not have its own metabolism. Virus does not have consciousness, it does not have metabolism. So we cannot put it as living organism. But it shows for a limited period of time ability to reproduce within a host cell, and it overtakes the metabolic machinery of the host cell. So we cannot say it is a dead organism also. So this is a dilemma, this is a difficult situation, but how will you describe a virus? We cannot put it under the living organism category. This is for certain, because it does not have metabolism, it does not have consciousness. So we place it in the border of living and non-living. It is somewhere in between. We will try to understand virus with the coming time, but virus has no enzymes, no cellular machinery, no metabolism. It only can overcome its reproduction issues by taking over the metabolism of another cell. So virus is both, between living and non-living. It is between living and non-living. Both is also not a very good option. There is a fourth option here. I should write the fourth option here. It is neither. It is between living and non-living. It is not living. This is was certain. Between living and non-living objects. This is the fourth thing. Okay. All right. So you learned a lot of things today. You learned about the basics of the human life or the animal world or the plant life. We are trying to talk about biology as a whole. So we are talking about the properties of organisms that bind all living organisms into one category as living organisms. So we talked about growth, we talked about metabolism, we talked about the metabolism and the consciousness, reproduction as well. And we talked about the definition of species. In the next turn, what we'll have to discuss, we have to discuss diversity. Now, in the next turn, I will be taking on the diversity. I will explain to you why classification is necessary. Okay. We have a 5-7 minute time. Will you like to study in this? Okay. Let me talk about it in brief. Okay. In this brief time, let me talk about a few things. What you are seeing here is a diatom. Okay. These are diatoms, plankton organisms. Okay. And yeah, one more thing. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that was my pen drive. Okay. If somebody watches Naruto, you want to understand what it is. There is some problem. Okay, I'll explain to you later now. Okay, anybody? Alright. I actually was trying to show you pictures of Linnaeus and some other things. This is a picture of Indian Botanical Garden. I'll talk about this in the next class. Indian Botanical Garden and other things. Okay. So, these are actually classified under taxonomical aids. Classified under taxonomical aids. There are a lot of things we will use. We will use botanical garden, we will use herbarium, we will use zoological parks, we will use the other thing, keys, and we will use the museum. We will use these categories of taxonomical aids to classify and help in classifying organisms and to identify new organisms. We will use these in taxonomy. We will make some categories. We will study about Carolus Linnaeus, how he gave the binomial system of nomenclature, the rules of nomenclature. In this NEET 2019 examination, you must have seen that there was a question on the nomenclature. Mangifera indica, how is it written? Lin. Okay, so there is a small bit of difference that Mangifera indica, it has to be italicized, M has to be capital, I of indica has to be small, and LINN. Linnaeus abbreviation, it has to be non-italicized and has to be abbreviated. So there was a minor difference in all the four options, and if you have not studied it properly, it might become a bit confusing. So my students who I taught about this, they all did it correct. But more than that, after that, we have to talk about the five kingdom. We have to talk about artificial system of nomenclature like Linnaeus. Then we have to talk about the natural system of classification. We have to talk about numerical system of classification, phylogenetic tree, evolutionary tree. These concepts will be covered in the next class, okay. So you will need to, it will be very good if you study the textbook a bit, okay. So in the next class, I'll be talking about the details of classification, and I'll be giving you some questions as well, a small bit of homework, okay. And you might want to solve some assignments from your practice, the books and all, okay. I believe you have received the modules also. So we will be dealing this stepwise. We will be dealing with the soft questions and the hard questions, and some basic concepts, okay, some confusing things like who devised binomial nomenclature. Was it Linnaeus only? Was he the first person, or there was somebody else who gave binomial nomenclature before him? Actually, there was somebody else. It was Gaspard Bohin. And there are some things that need to be discussed, okay. So if even if the paper setter is trying to confuse you, will not be confused in such small things, okay. So we'll talk about this in the next class, okay, students. Thank you for your time, and I hope you learned something from what we studied today, and I hope you do the revisions also, although it seems very easy, but I'll ask you to spend at least 5 minutes on whatever you have studied today, okay. So thank you for your time, and we'll meet in the next class. Thank you so much.